In this short video, I will show you how to use the two new features we have introduced in the past performance dashboard. And for that, I will use the example of our Kadiska CASB service. So here on the map, you see that I'm focusing on this CASB service so that I can see how this service is reachable from all the testers I've configured. From the table here below, you see that the network latency is constantly changing when the users connect from Germany. So this is a behavior I do want to understand. And for that, I have to simply select the tester and then navigate to the past performance dashboard. On this time series, you see how the network latency is evolving over time, and you see the big move between 5 milliseconds and 20 milliseconds. And what I had to do in the past to understand this kind of behavior was typically to try to use the focus mode to select a peak and see how the network path visualization looked like. But you see in this case that this is not so easy because again, the network latency is constantly moving. So this is why it is why we have introduced two new features. The first one is having the option to see the time series by target IPs. So when the tester during the DNS resolution process ends up targeting different destination IPs, this is what I see here on the network path. In fact, I can split the corresponding values directly in the time series now with this new feature. So by selecting target IP, I see that indeed so the tester ends up targeting two different IP addresses, and one IP address seems closer to the user. So this is the first new feature we have introduced that will really help you understand this kind of behavior. The second feature we have introduced is a new type of widgets, which are the distribution, so that you can see here how many net tracer ends up with a high network latency value. So you see in my case that 104 net tracer tests ends up with a round trip that was between 20 and 22 milliseconds. So in order to understand the corresponding to identify the corresponding network path, I simply have to select, as I'm used to do with the focus mode, I simply select a peak of RTT directly from the distribution graph so that the network path will be automatically updated accordingly. So here I understand that when I have a high latency value, then this is the network path which is taken. So I'm going from Etzner Online to Lumen Technologies, for example. And when everything is fine, I select another one so that I can understand that in this case, I'm not going to Lumen Technologies, I'm going from Hetzner Online to Peering LAN before reaching the Kadiska CASB node. What I can do, in addition to that, when I select a specific here distribution part, I can still use the focus mode to here focus on a specific peak if I want to. So in this case, you see a peak of 22 milliseconds. If I still want to understand here what happened during this specific time frame, I can combine these two filters. So I now have a focus mode on the distribution graph in addition with a focus mode in the time series graph, so that again, I can understand and quickly troubleshoot what happened. And from there, as usual, I can use this focus mode as a global range and to filter out and get more detailed information so that I can even focus on one specific test if I wanted to by selecting this specific test in my case and see the corresponding network path.